The silver ships appeared in the sky without warning. They hung over every major city on Earth, their smooth hulls reflecting the sunlight. Commander Alan Wright stood on the roof of the Earth Defense Fleet headquarters and looked up. His heart beat fast as he watched the strange vessels. After years of searching the stars for alien life, it had found them instead. "Commander, we're getting a signal," said the young officer beside him. Her name was Lisa Garcia, and her hands trembled. As she held up the communication device, Alan took a deep breath. This is our moment. The first contact with an alien civilization. He pressed the button to receive the transmission. The image that appeared showed a tall, thin creature with blue-gray skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. When it spoke, its voice sounded like stones grinding together. "People of Earth, you now belong to the Zalarian Empire. Resist and you will be destroyed." Alan frowned. This wasn't how first contact was supposed to go. "We welcome peaceful communication," he said. "Earth wishes to establish diplomatic relations." The alien made a sound like breaking glass, which Alan guessed was laughter. "Diplomacy is for equals. You are not our equals. You have 1 Earth day to surrender control of your planet." The transmission ended. Alan looked at Lisa, whose face had gone pale. "Contact the president," he said. "Now." President Olivia Martinez sat at the head of a large table surrounded by military leaders and scientists. The emergency meeting had been going on for hours. "What do we know about them?" she asked. Dr. Susan Campbell, Earth's leading expert in alien languages, stood up. "They call themselves the Zalarians. From what I can translate, they control thousands of worlds across 3 arms of the galaxy. Their empire is over 10,000 years old." "And their technology?" asked the president. General Frank Miller shook his head. "Far beyond ours. Our satellites show their ships have energy shields we can't penetrate. Their smallest scout ship could probably destroy one of our cities. Can we fight them?" President Martinez's voice was steady, but her eyes showed her fear. "Not directly," said Commander Wright, "but we've been preparing for this possibility. Project Ark was completed 3 years ago." The room went silent. Project Ark was the secret plan to ensure humanity's survival in case of an alien invasion. Only a few people in the room knew all the details. "It's our insurance policy," Alan continued. "But we need time." The president nodded slowly. "Then we'll buy time. Open a channel to the Zalarian commander. Grand Admiral Zorth of the Zalarian." Empire was not impressed by the humans. They were small, soft creatures with only 2 eyes and fragile bodies. Their technology was primitive. Their weapons were laughable. Yet something about them made him uneasy. When the human leader appeared on his screen, he was surprised by her calm demeanor. "Grand Admiral," said President Martinez, "we wish to discuss terms." Zorth flared his upper eyes in amusement. "There are no terms to discuss. You surrender or you die." "We understand. But surely a civilization as advanced as yours sees value in minimizing destruction. We propose a gradual transition of power." Zorth considered this. The Empire was currently fighting on 3 other fronts. A quick, clean takeover would be preferable. "You have 6 hours to begin the transfer of authority. Any resistance will be met with immediate force." Captain John Mercer watched the transmission from the bridge of the exploration vessel Frontier. His ship was docked at the Mars Research Station when the alien fleet arrived. Now they were stuck, unable to return to Earth without being detected. "What are we going to do, Captain?" asked his second-in-command, Karen Wells. John looked at the faces of his crew. They were scientists and explorers, not soldiers. But now they might be some of the last free humans in the solar system. "We stay hidden," he said. "And we watch. The Zalarians don't seem interested in Mars yet. That gives us an advantage." "Should we try to contact Earth?" asked Karen. John shook his head. "Not yet. Any transmission might be intercepted." He turned to look at the red planet outside their viewport. "There's something else. The ancient structures we found in the Valles Marineris. Last month, I think we should take another look at them." Lieutenant Gregory Hayes worked in the communications center of the lunar base. As the Zalarian ships moved into position around Earth, He received an encrypted message from Commander Wright. Activate Protocol Distant Hope. Greg knew what this meant. Years ago, Earth had sent a colony fleet to Proxima Centauri. The fleet carried thousands of people and was designed to establish humanity's first interstellar colony. They had left 15 years ago and were still on their journey. With shaking hands, Greg prepared the special transmission equipment. It was designed to send a signal that would be nearly impossible to detect unless you knew exactly what to look for. The message was simple. Earth fallen. Invaders call themselves Zilarians. Do not return. Survive. He sent the message 3 times, then destroyed the equipment as ordered. Dr. Susan Campbell worked through the night, analyzing the Zilarian language from every transmission she could access. The more she learned, the more worried she became. She rushed into the president's office without waiting to be announced. Madam President, I've decoded more of their language. They don't want an alliance or even to rule us. They see Earth as a resource extraction point. They plan to mine the planet until nothing is left. President Martinez closed her eyes briefly. Thank you, Susan. This confirms what we feared. She pressed a button on her desk. General Miller, initiate Phase 2. Across the planet, selected military personnel received coded messages. They quietly left their posts and traveled to predetermined locations. Underground bases prepared years ago opened their doors. Key scientists and leaders disappeared from public view. 1 week after the arrival of the Zilarians, Earth had a new government. The alien ships hovered over cities, a constant reminder of their power. Zilarian governors took control of each continent, with Governor Krell overseeing North America. But beneath the surface, resistance was already forming. Colonel Lisa Warren had been expecting alien contact for years, though not like this. As part of the Special Forces, she had trained for unconventional warfare. Now, in an underground facility in the Rocky Mountains, she addressed the men and women who had made it to the rendezvous point. The occupation has begun, she said. But this is just the beginning of our fight. The Zilarians think they've conquered Earth. They don't realize that humanity isn't confined to one planet anymore. She activated a screen showing a star map. And they have no idea that our true army is still out there. And when it arrives, they'll learn why you should never corner a human. One of the soldiers raised his hand. How long do we need to hold out? Lisa looked at him steadily. Years, maybe decades. But we will hold out. Because we're fighting for our home. 5 years passed under Zilarian rule. The blue-gray aliens walked Earth's streets as if they owned them. In truth, they did. Their tall figures and 4 eyes no longer shocked the humans who saw them. Fear had become a normal feeling. Colonel Lisa Warren crouched in the shadows of an abandoned building. Her face was thinner now, with a scar running down her left cheek. She watched as a Zilarian patrol moved down the street. They're changing their patterns again, whispered Sam Reeves, her second in command. Once a schoolteacher, now he was one of Earth's best fighters. Lisa nodded. They're learning, but so are we. The resistance had grown over the years. Small at first, just military personnel and a few brave civilians. Now it included thousands, across the globe. They communicated using codes hidden in Zilarian transmission systems thanks to Maria Diaz. The package is ready, Sam said. Dr. Rogers finished it yesterday. Lisa smiled. Dr. Benjamin Rogers had once worked for the biggest tech company on Earth. Now he worked in a Zilarian research facility by day, and for the resistance by night. His latest creation was a virus designed to disable Zilarian security systems. Tonight then, said Lisa. Tell everyone to be ready. Captain John Mercer wiped dust from his face as he crawled through the narrow tunnel. After 5 years on Mars, he had grown used to the red dust that got everywhere. What he would never get used to was the wonder of what they had found. The Martian. Ruins were vast, buried under centuries of dust storms. His team had discovered them just before the invasion, but only now did they understand their importance. John, you need to see this, called Karen Wells from deeper in the tunnel. He made his way to her location and gasped. The wall in front of them was covered in symbols, and among them was an unmistakable image of a Zilarian. They were here, he said. The Zalarians were on Mars. Karen pointed to other images. Not just them. Look at these frequencies plotted, on the wall. According to our tests, they match the exact electromagnetic pattern that disrupts Zalarian technology. John's mind raced. The Martians found a way to fight them. And now, so have we. Dr. Susan Campbell had spent 5 years studying the Zalarians. As one of the few humans allowed to work directly with them due to her language skills, she had access most Resistance members didn't. She sat across from Governor Krell, taking notes as he spoke about new regulations. Unlike most Zalarians, Krell seemed interested in human culture. He asked questions, listened to answers, and sometimes made decisions that eased human suffering. Your species continues to surprise me, Krell said. Most conquered worlds accept their fate within a year. Yet here we are 5 years later and still facing sabotage and resistance. Susan kept her face neutral. Humans are adaptable. Perhaps too adaptable, Krell said. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep thought among Zalarians. Did you know that before I came to Earth, I opposed this invasion? Susan's pen stopped moving. This was new information. Not all Zalarians believe in endless conquest, Krell continued. Some of us think the Empire has grown too large, spread too thin, but such opinions are dangerous to express openly. Susan carefully recorded his words in her own secret code. This could be valuable information for the Resistance, or it could be a trap. Either way, Colonel Warren needed to know. On the outskirts of what was once Chicago, Lieutenant Gregory Hayes led a team through the ruins. The city had been one of the first to resist openly, and the Zalarians had made an example of it. Keep low, Greg whispered to his team. Their sensors can pick up heat signatures from half a mile away. Their mission was dangerous but critical. A Zalarian ship had crashed nearby 3 days ago, and they needed to recover any useful technology before the aliens did. As they approached the crash site, they saw the ship. It was smaller than the massive vessels that had first arrived, but still impressive. Its silver hull was cracked open like an egg. Check for survivors first, ordered Greg. Then we salvage what we can. Inside the ship, they found a single Zalarian. It was smaller than most they had seen, its skin more gray than blue. It was injured, blue blood seeping from a wound in its side. When it saw the humans, it tried to reach for a weapon, but was too weak. Wait, said Greg, raising his hand to stop his team from firing. We're not here to hurt you, the alien spoke, its voice weaker than the harsh tones they were used to. Then you are fools. Maybe, said Greg. Or maybe we're something you haven't encountered before. He knelt beside the alien. I'm Greg. What's your name? The alien hesitated, then answered, Tav. I am a science officer. Well, Tav, we're going to help you, and then maybe you can help us. Deep in space, Admiral Richard Stone looked at the message they had received years ago. Earth fallen. Invaders call themselves Zalarians. Do not return. Survive. For 5 years, the colony fleet had debated what to do. Their mission had been to establish a human presence in the Proxima Centauri system, ensuring humanity's survival beyond Earth. But now Earth itself was in danger. We've made our decision, said Fleet Engineer Nora Klein. The ship conversions are nearly complete, Richard nodded. What had once been colony ships were now being transformed into warships. Using the technology they had brought to build a new world, they had instead created weapons. How many ships can we arm? He asked. All 20 of them, Nora replied. Not as powerful as a real military fleet, but they'll pack a punch. And we've been studying the Zalarian transmission data we intercepted. We might have found weaknesses in their systems. Richard looked at the star map. They were still years away, from Earth at their current speed. Push the engines to maximum, he ordered. It's time to go home. In his secret lab beneath the Zalarian research facility, Dr. Benjamin Rogers worked through the night. The device in front of him was a combination of human and Zalarian technology, something that shouldn't exist. Just a few more adjustments, he muttered. The door opened and Maria Diaz entered. At 25, she was the youngest senior member of the Resistance, a genius with communication systems. "Did it work?" she asked. Ben smiled and held up the small device. "It did. This can hack any Zalarian system within 50 feet, and they won't detect it until it's too late." Maria's eyes widened. "This changes everything." "It's just the beginning," said Ben. "The more I study their tech, the more I realize something's strange. They've had the same technology for thousands of years. They don't innovate anymore, they just conquer and adapt what others create." "And we create things every day," said Maria with a smile. Ben nodded. "Exactly. They may have won the first battle, but this war is far from over." 10 years had passed since the Zalarians first came to Earth. The world had changed in ways no one could have imagined. Cities once proud and tall now served as bases for alien ships. Forests were cut down to feed the hunger of Zalarian factories. But something else was changing too. The Zalarian Empire itself. Vice Admiral Peter Kelly looked through his binoculars at the large communication tower. It rose above the trees like a silver needle pointing to the sky. This was the main hub. The Zalarians used to talk to their homeworld and other conquered planets. "All teams in position?" he asked into his radio. "Team 1 ready," came the reply from Captain Steve Adams. "Team 2 ready," said Lieutenant Diane Powell. Peter took a deep breath. This mission had been planned for months. If they succeeded, it would change everything. If they failed, the Resistance would lose some of its best fighters. "Begin Operation Voice," he ordered. Around the tower, small explosions went off. They were not meant to damage, only to distract. As Zalarian guards ran toward the noise, human fighters slipped past them into the tower. Peter led his team straight to the control room. Years of studying Zalarian patterns had taught them when the fewest guards would be present. Even so, they met resistance. A tall Zalarian blocked their path, weapon raised. Before it could fire, a shot hit it in the chest. The alien fell to the floor. "Nice shot, Powell," said Peter. Diane nodded, her face grim. She didn't enjoy killing, not even Zalarians. But this was war. They reached the control room and quickly took out the few technicians inside. Dr. Rogers had prepared them well. Each human knew exactly what to do. "Begin the broadcast," Peter ordered. The message they sent was simple but powerful. It went to every world under Zalarian control. It showed humans fighting back, and it told the truth about the cracks forming in the Zalarian Empire. In the hidden lab beneath Chicago, Tav worked alongside Dr. Benjamin Rogers. The Zalarian scientist had been with the Resistance for 5 years. Now, ever since Greg's team had saved him. "The caste system is breaking down," Tav explained, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. For 10,000 years, Zalarians were born into their roles: warrior, scientist, worker, ruler. But now many question this system. Ben nodded as he adjusted the device they were building. "So the Empire isn't as strong as it seems." "It is strong in weapons and ships," said Tav, "but weak in spirit. And now, with Grand Admiral Zorth dead..." Ben looked up, surprised. "Zorth is dead? How?" "Assassinated by his own guards. 3 factions now fight for control of the Empire." Tav's voice held both sadness and hope. "My people have forgotten how to think for themselves, but seeing humans resist, it has awakened something in some of us." Dr. Susan Campbell walked quickly through the halls of the North American Governance Center. As Governor Krell's top human advisor, she had access to many places others didn't. Today, she was using that access to attend a meeting she wasn't invited to. Hidden in a small room next to the main meeting chamber, she listened through a device Dr. Rogers had made. Inside the chamber, 3 Zalarian leaders argued. "Earth must be stripped of all resources immediately," said Sub-Commander Vrax, the leader of the hardline faction. "These humans are dangerous. Their resistance spreads ideas that threaten the Empire." "Rushing will only waste resources," countered Governor Krell. "A careful approach will yield more in the long term." "Both of you miss the point," said the 3rd Zalarian Science Director Mara. "We should be studying humans, not destroying them. Their adaptability is unlike anything we've seen in 10,000 years of conquest." Susan recorded everything. The split among the Zolarians was growing wider. This was valuable information for Colonel Warren. In the Sahara Desert, a massive Zolarian ship lay half buried in sand. It had fallen from the sky 3 days ago after a battle with another Zolarian vessel. Proof that the alien civil war had reached Earth. Lieutenant Eric Sanchez led his team through the wreckage. They wore special suits to protect them from the heat and any dangerous materials. The navigation room should be ahead, he said. They had been sent to recover any data that might help the Resistance understand the full extent of the Zolarian Empire. What they found was beyond their hopes. "Look at this," said Sergeant Amy Foster, pointing to a still-working screen. Eric studied the star map displayed there. "That's their whole empire, every world, every fleet location. And look at these blinking points," Amy said. "Those must be trouble spots, worlds in rebellion." Eric downloaded all the data they could. "Colonel Warren needs to see this right away." At the Mars base, Captain John Mercer watched as his team tested the new weapon. Based on the information from the ancient Martian ruins, they had built a device that could disrupt Zolarian technology using specific electromagnetic frequencies. "Fire when ready," he ordered. Karen Wells activated the device. A wave of invisible energy shot out. The small Zolarian drone they had captured years ago fell from the air completely disabled. "It works," said Karen, her voice filled with wonder. "It really works," John nodded. "Now we need to build more, much more, and find a way to get them to Earth." In deep space, Admiral Richard Stone's fleet moved steadily toward Earth. What had once been colony ships now bristled with weapons. The ships had been rebuilt and repurposed, their hulls reinforced, their systems upgraded. "Admiral, we're receiving a new transmission from Earth," said Communications Officer Daniel Wright. Richard listened to the message. It detailed the growing civil war among the Zolarians, the Resistance's successes, and the discovery of the aliens' weakness. "This changes our approach," he said. "We no longer need to just fight our way in. We can use their own civil war against them." He turned to his officers. "Increase speed. Earth needs us now more than ever." Back on Earth, Colonel Lisa Warren met with her top commanders in their underground base. The room was filled with people from all walks of life, former soldiers, teachers, engineers, doctors. All were now fighters for Earth's freedom. "The Zolarian Empire is fracturing," she said. "Their civil war gives us our best chance yet. Vice Admiral Kelly has taken control of their communications hub. We can now speak to other worlds under their control." She pointed to the star map they had recovered from the crashed ship. "We are not alone in this fight. Dozens of worlds are rising up. And now, we have a weapon that can disable their technology." "Sam," Reeves raised his hand. "What about the fleet? Any word from Admiral Stone?" Lisa smiled. "Yes, the colony fleet is on its way back, but they're not alone." She activated a special communication device, one that had remained silent for 10 years. A voice filled the room. "This is Admiral Patricia Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Force. We have received your signals. The true army of humanity is coming. Hold on. We are almost there." 15 years had passed since Earth first met the Zolarians. The once mighty alien empire now fought itself as much as it fought humans. On Earth, the Resistance had grown from small hidden groups into an organized force that controlled entire regions. The time had come to push back harder. General Lisa Warren stood on a hill overlooking what had once been Denver. Now it was a Zolarian command center. Her face showed the marks of 15 years of fighting, scars, wrinkles, and eyes that had seen too much suffering. But today those eyes held hope. "Are the jammers in place?" she asked Sam Reeves, who had been with her since the beginning. Sam nodded. "All around the city. Dr. Roger says they'll hit every Zolarian device within the area." Lisa raised her radio. "All teams, prepare for Operation Freedom. Activate the jammers on my mark." Across the city, hidden human fighters waited. Some wore the uniforms of human workers allowed in Zolarian areas. Others hid in buildings or underground tunnels. All were ready. 3, 2, 1, mark. Across the city, devices built based on the ancient Martian technology switched on. They sent out waves of electromagnetic energy at the exact frequency that disrupted Zalarian technology. The effect was immediate. Zalarian weapons stopped working. Their communication devices went silent. The force fields around their buildings disappeared. "All teams move in," ordered Lisa. Hundreds of human fighters rushed forward. The Zalarians, suddenly without their technological advantage, found themselves facing humans who had spent years preparing for this moment. Governor Krell stood in his office as alarms blared. Through the window he could see the chaos below as human fighters overwhelmed his guards. The door opened. He expected human soldiers coming to kill him. Instead, Dr. Susan Campbell walked in alone. "Doctor," he said, "have you come to witness the end of Zalarian rule on Earth?" Susan shook her head. "I've come to offer you a choice." She placed a communication device on his desk. On the screen was Colonel, now General, Lisa Warren. "Governor Krell," said Lisa, "we know you opposed the invasion of Earth. We know you've secretly reduced the harshness of Zalarian rule when you could. Now your people are divided, fighting among themselves. Join us." Krell's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Join humans? Against my own kind? Against those of your kind who believe in endless conquest," corrected Lisa. "Help us end this war with as little bloodshed as possible." Krell had spent years studying humans. He had seen their resilience, their creativity, their determination, and he had seen his own empire beginning to crumble under its own weight. "I will help you," he said finally. "And I am not alone. Many Zalarians are tired of the old ways." Dr. Benjamin Rogers watched the screen in his lab as the virus he had created spread through the Zalarian network. Years of secretly studying their technology had finally paid off. "It's working," said Maria Diaz beside him. At 30, she had grown from a brilliant young engineer into one of the Resistance's top technology experts. The virus didn't destroy Zalarian systems. It did something more clever. It made their ships see each other as enemies. All across Earth's orbit, Zalarian vessels were turning on each other. "This will buy us time," said Ben, "but we need to be ready when their central command realizes what's happening and overrides the system." Maria pointed to another screen showing ships rising from hidden bases on Earth. "That's why we're taking the fight to orbit. We're not going to give them time to recover." Captain John Mercer, now a colonel, led the first wave of human ships into orbit. They were a mix of captured Zalarian vessels and human-built ships using technology learned from the aliens. "Enemy ships ahead," reported his pilot, Karen Wells. John looked at the tactical display. "They're already firing on each other." Dr. Rogers' virus worked. "Orders, sir? Target any ship still showing organized resistance, avoid the ones already in chaos, and keep an eye out for ships with the green marker. Those are the ones that have pledged to Governor Krell." The battle for Earth's orbit had begun. Human ships, despite being fewer in number, had the advantage of surprise and the confusion caused by the virus. They moved in quickly, disabling key Zalarian vessels. In the outer solar system, Admiral Richard Stone's fleet emerged from the darkness, beyond Pluto. After 15 years of travel and preparation, they had arrived. The colony's ships, once meant to carry humanity to a new home among the stars, now returned to help save the old one. "All ships report ready for battle," said his second-in-command, Captain Olivia Reyes. "Begin launching the stealth probes," ordered Richard. "I want full scans of Earth and all Zalarian positions before we make our move." The small probes shot ahead of the fleet, designed to be invisible to Zalarian sensors. They would map enemy positions and strengths, giving the fleet the information they needed for the coming battle. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission," said Communications Officer Daniel Wright. "It's from Earth." On the screen appeared the face of General Lisa Warren. "Admiral Stone, your timing couldn't be better. The global uprising has begun, and we've taken control of several orbital platforms, but the main Zalarian fleet is regrouping." "We're on our way, General," said Richard. "And we're not alone." The Zalarian reinforcement fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system. They had been sent months ago when reports of growing resistance reached the imperial capital. led by Commander Vex, a hardliner loyal to the old ways. They expected to crush the human rebellion with ease. "Scan the system," ordered Vex. "Sir, we're detecting a large group of ships near the human planet," reported his sensor officer. "The pathetic human resistance," sneered Vex. "They will learn their place soon enough." "Sir," said the officer hesitantly, "these are not the ships we expected. They are much larger, and there are many more of them." Vex looked at the scan results and felt, for the first time in his long life, a touch of fear. These were not the crude vessels human resistance fighters had cobbled together. These were warships properly built and armed. "Where did they come from?" he demanded. Before anyone could answer, a message came through on all channels. A human face appeared on the screen. "This is Admiral Richard Stone of the Earth Defense Fleet. Your empire is breaking apart. Your forces on Earth are in retreat. Surrender now, or face the full might of humanity." Vex laughed bitterly. One fleet of primitive humans does not scare the Zilarian Empire. "Perhaps not," agreed Admiral Stone. "But we are not the only fleet Earth has sent into the stars." As if on cue, new signals appeared on Vex's sensors. Another fleet was approaching from the opposite direction. "This is Admiral Patricia Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Force," said a new voice over the communication channel. "The true army of humanity has arrived. The space around Earth filled with ships." Admiral Patricia Rodriguez watched from the bridge of the Defender, the flagship of humanity's secret fleet. For 20 years, this force had hidden in the shadows of the solar system, building, training, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. "All ships report battle ready," said her second-in-command, Captain William Ford. Patricia nodded. She was 55 now. Her black hair streaked with gray, her face lined with the weight of the responsibility she had carried for 2 decades. When the Zilarians first came, she had been ordered to take Earth's true military might and hide it, to prepare for the day when humanity would need its full strength. That day had come. "Open a channel to Admiral Stone," she ordered. Richard Stone's face appeared on the screen. He looked older than she remembered, the years in deep space having taken their toll. "Admiral Rodriguez," he said with a smile. "It's good to finally meet you, even if only through a screen." "Likewise, Admiral. Your colony fleet did well to return in our time of need." "We never planned to abandon Earth," said Richard. "Though I admit, we didn't expect to find such a well-organized resistance when we got back." Patricia smiled. "Humans are hard to keep down. Now shall we finish what General Warren started?" Together they planned their attack. Richard's ships would engage the main Zilarian force, while Patricia's fleet would target their command vessels. Meanwhile, the Earth-based fighters led by General Warren would continue taking back ground control centers. "For Earth," said Patricia, as she ended the call. She turned to her crew. "Battle stations. Today we take back our home." Commander Vex watched in growing horror as more human ships appeared on his sensors. This was not possible. Earth was a primitive world, barely capable of space travel when the Empire arrived. How could they have hidden so many ships? Where had they built them? "Sir, the human vessels are moving to surround us," reported his tactical officer. Vex snarled in frustration. "Launch all fighters. Target their largest ships first." The space around Earth lit up with weapons fire. Zilarian ships, still the most advanced in the galaxy, cut through several human vessels. But there were so many of them, attacking from multiple directions at once. "Sir," cried his communications officer, "we're getting reports from the surface. Human fighters have taken control of our main bases in their regions called North America and Europe." "What about our forces in orbit?" demanded Vex. "Half our orbital fleet has been disabled by some kind of virus. The other half?" The officer paused. "Sir, some of our ships are firing on us." Vex slammed his fist on his command chair. "Governor Krell," he hissed, "that traitor has turned our own forces against us." On his main screen, he could see human ships closing in from all sides. Their weapons were less powerful than Zilarian ones, but there were so many of them, and they fought with a ferocity he had never seen before. "Sir, what are your orders?" asked his second-in-command. Vex looked at the battle unfolding around him. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Zalarian Empire was losing a war. Near Jupiter, the final battle reached its peak. The last loyal Zalarian ships had retreated to regroup, forming a defensive line near the giant planet. Admiral Stone's fleet pressed from one side, while Admiral Rodriguez's forces pushed from the other. "They're trapped," said Captain Ford. Patricia nodded. "But still dangerous. Cornered enemies fight hardest." The Zalarian ships proved this by launching a desperate attack. 3 human vessels exploded under their fire, but the human fleets kept closing in. On the bridge of the Defender, Patricia received a new message. It was from Governor Krell. "Admiral Rodriguez, Commander Vex will not surrender, but not all Zalarians wish to die today. Look for ships displaying a green signal. They are with us, not against you." Patricia gave new orders quickly. "Target only ships without the green signal. Let's end this with as little bloodshed as possible." The battle raged for hours. Human ships, smaller but more numerous, darted around the larger Zalarian vessels. One by one, the alien ships were disabled or destroyed. Finally, only Commander Vex's flagship remained, surrounded by human vessels. "Surrender, Commander." Patricia sent the message herself. "Your empire is shattered. Your forces on Earth have been defeated. You stand alone." There was a long pause. Then, to everyone's surprise, a reply came. "You have won this battle, humans, but the Empire still stands, and we will return." With those words, Vex's ship activated its faster-than-light drive, vanishing in a flash of light. "Let him go," said Patricia. "We have our planet back." 1 month later, General Lisa Warren stood in what had once been the United Nations building in New York. Now it served as the meeting place for a new alliance. Around the table sat humans like herself, Admiral Stone, and Admiral Rodriguez. But there were also Zalarians led by Governor Krell, and representatives from 3 other species that had been under Zalarian control. "The Zalarian Empire controlled thousands of worlds across 3 arms of the galaxy," said Krell. "With their defeat at Earth, many of these worlds have risen in rebellion, but make no mistake, there are still powerful forces loyal to the old Empire. The war is not over. But now we face it together," said Lisa. "Not as conquerors and conquered, but as allies." Admiral Rodriguez nodded. "Earth's fleets stand ready to help any world that wishes to be free. And with the technology we've developed, plus what Governor Krell's faction has shared, we have a fighting chance." "More than a chance," said Admiral Stone. "We have something the Empire lost long ago, the will to adapt, to change, to become better." As they spoke, a new signal appeared on the room's main screen. It came from a distant galaxy, far beyond the reach of even the Zalarian Empire. "What is it?" asked Lisa. Dr. Susan Campbell, now the head of Earth's Xenolinguistics Division, studied the signal. "It's not Zalarian," she said. "It's not like anything we've seen before." The room fell silent as they considered this news. They had just begun to free themselves from one alien threat. Was another now approaching? Admiral Rodriguez was the first to speak. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together. Humanity has proven one thing these past 20 years. We don't go down easily." Lisa looked around the room at the faces of humans and aliens alike, all united in a common cause. "No," she agreed. "We don't, and we never will." Outside the window, human ships patrolled the skies over a free Earth. In orbit, a combined fleet of human and allied Zalarian vessels stood guard. And in shipyards across the solar system, new vessels were being built, stronger than before. The Zalarian Empire had shattered against humanity's will to survive, and whatever came next would find not a single planet of humans, but a united front of species ready to defend their freedom. Together,